CM Red, we're a first tier cast in place concrete subcontractor. We do work in North Carolina and Virginia. Kind of some characteristics about us is we average about 1.1 million in billing, and that's across about 15 projects, give or take a few on a monthly basis. The one thing that, isn't an average, but, over the last 6 months, we've had tremendous growth. This past month was actually 1.5 million in billing. So we are growing at a rapid pace, which also means that, we need cash flow in order to continue to grow in the market that we're in. Typically, we have a 60-day average payment cycle from the time that we bill, which is usually around the 20th. Those payouts will start coming in, around May 20th. So it's about 60 days. We rely on a lot of local vendors and suppliers. Like when it comes to steel, you can go to a Nucor and they're a very big company, but we have lots of smaller, more nimble companies that, we would like to support. And of course, they would like to get paid quicker than 60 and sometimes, 90 days. We are in a paid when paid environment. We are a first, tier sub. So, another note is like our current backlog is approximately 11 million. So, tremendous growth, almost a 50% from last year to this year, which means that, we needed to look at financing options and cash flow options as we went into 2026. So, this slide, you kind of look at the cash flow use model with, Pronovis with QuickPay Direct. We looked at multiple vendors for assistance, banks. There's a couple other, national vendors out there, that provide assistance like this. And, because we needed some relief on sometimes waiting 3 months before getting payment. Just like Greg said earlier, we love our GCs. They are our clients. They allow us all to grow in our market, perform our job, and we get to go home at night, pay our bills because of our GCs. And it's not their issue, with paid when paid. Most of our vendors all pay within 7 days of themselves getting paid. So, very good for them. But how did we get here today? Well, about 6 months ago, I got an email just like you guys on this webinar that said, hey, do you want to hear about QuickPay with Pronovis? We had done a demo with Pronovis a few months earlier, which was just an amazing piece of software that we really liked, and had talked to Bruce, a couple times about that. So afterwards, I got a phone call saying, hey, how would you, like to use the product? And a few more conversations. And, we really felt comfortable with the Pronovis team, with the software, with Greg and his team at Viva. And we move forward with it. And I can actually say that the growth that we've been able to accommodate over the last 6 months has been due to this relationship, with Viva and Pronovis. So, major benefit is all of my projects are in one place. There's other products out there that some of the GCs will use, like Textura, GC Pay and so forth, which do have some quick pay options if a GC allows for those. But with this product, I can log into Pronovis. I see all of my pay applications. There's a cash flow model. You're going to see some of this a little bit, later with Denver. And you can see where your gaps are going to be and fill those gaps as needed. So all in one place is a very important piece for us. Simply, you go in, you set up all of your projects as you get them. Again, we have about 15 every single month. And then you use the tool in order to submit pay apps as needed. You'll get the funding within 24 hours. You pay your vendors an operational, costs, for that particular job. And getting the money back into Viva is as simple as just setting up direct deposit, or, a lot of times we just FedEx checks because we still get very large checks, from our GCs, and those go straight in. One thing that we have learned to do, this was also a benefit of using this product, is our labels all say 2CM Red, CO Viva. It's our banking partner. It's our ally in growth, is what we can call it if you want. But it's very discreet. At no time has anyone from Pronovus or Viva ever talked to one of our GCs directly. It's all been confirmation via tools, emails, um, or conversations, that they're listening in that your payouts have been approved. So from the discrete point of view, nobody really knows that you're using this tool, and they probably did. They probably think you were pretty smart anyway. Um, the thing that we've been able to do, go to some of our vendors and say, hey, if we pay you within 15 days, can you give us a discount, right? Um, and that's been starting to work on a couple of our vendors. If we pay in 10 days or pay in 15 days, can we get a 5% discount on the product? Because again, they got cash flow issues too. So we find it's quite easy to use, the process is efficient, and the verification is discreet. And we like it very much.
David, to put you on the spot a little bit, you said over the last 6 months, Pronovus and QuickPay Direct has definitely helped you guys out. What have you seen be the biggest difference, and how would it have been different had you guys not been utilizing the QuickPay program?
We would have had a lot of gaps. We have again started to not only increase the amount that we bill every month, but in the size of the projects. I think 3 years ago when I got here, our average project was probably around 200,000, maybe $250,000, and now our average is more like 750. Okay, so what that means is we have a lot more in that first 3 months. I mean, you start a project on March 1st, you've got materials coming in on March 1st, you're not billing until March 20th. And then, in the normal market, you're not getting paid till May 20th, right? So all of those vendors are going to be looking for payment, as early as April. Um, and so I feel like this product has allowed us to, satisfy what our vendors needs as well as our operational costs. And, in order for you to have growth in the construction market, you have to have cash flow, and this product allows that.